Good day, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. This is Neil, and as always, I am joined by Sunila. This week, what we decided to do is actually deep dive into our emails and see the suggestions that all of you have sent us. And by popular demand, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, we are going to take the topics that you have sent us. So, if you would like us to take up certain topics in our weekly podcast, do write to us at Neil, Neil at vinaworld.com or Sunila, Sunila at the rate vinaworld.com. We would love to hear from you. So, by popular demand, this is the first topic that we have taken at the request of our listeners and viewers on YouTube. And today's topic is going to be the best beaches in India. Now, Sunila, welcome to the podcast again. Welcome to another week. We are talking about the best beaches in India. And I think, you know, when we talk about beaches, the first thing that comes to everyone's minds is Goa. But for our episode, for this podcast, we when we started it, we decided that we are going to talk about something that not everyone may know. So I would really prefer that, let's keep Goa out of it or bring it at the very end. But let's talk about the different beaches that our country, India, has to offer with such a long coastline. It is amazing. And where do we start, Sunila? Should we start on the west or the east? You tell me.
Yeah. Hi, Neil, and hello, everyone. Wow, an episode on beaches without Goa. That is perfect, I think, because we just ignore. I mean, our country has more than 7,000 kilometers of coastline, and we just talk of that one tiny state in India, and we flock there. Neil, on that topic, actually, I was just thinking that being born and brought up in Mumbai, to live without a beach is quite a I don't know how that feeling is to not be able to reach the water or the beach within half an hour of wherever you live. I think we have a big advantage. Whoever lives along the coastline, we really should appreciate it much more. And I'm sure all our other friends who live in the heartland and live in the center of India really value beaches and enjoy them as well. So yeah, let's do something different. I think that's great. Let's leave go out for first, and let's start with some place that we don't really think of for beaches. So how about the East Coast? I think we
Perfect.
can start with the East Coast of India. I was Another thing that struck me as I was thinking of the differences in the East and the West. Again, being brought up on the west coast of India, we are so used to having the sunset in the beach, right? You go to the beach at sunset and you watch the sunset and go down the waters. And I was thinking, imagine like taking some time lapse and reversing it or something. That's probably what we'll experience on the east coast. To actually see the sun come up from the waters would be so different. So I think let's just start there.
Awesome. So, well, there's so many beaches that we have to talk about, but we have to also fit it in 20 or 25 minutes, as our listeners have been suggesting that, don't go to 40 minutes because we don't want to listen to 40 minutes, but please tell us in 20 or 25 minutes. So we are going to try and ensure that, this is
A
going to be
short, quick
a
session.
quick,
Yes.
yeah, quick beach session. So, all right. So, Sunila, let's start on the east. And I think the first one on my list is something that gives you the French influence. It is known for its French Quarter, and I think a good point would be to start at Pondicherry or Puducherry as
Puducherry.
it's called, right? And it has like a great French heritage, and we've covered this in many episodes. But I think what Pondicherry or Puducherry offers is that nearby there's Auroville that you can go and just have this calm sense of zen that is there. But at the same time, there is like Paradise Beach over there. There are a few surf schools that are there. Uh, there are also many nice French like architectural buildings out there. And one of the best things is that you can just rent a scooter and then just
Or a
walk
bike, just bike
on
there,
the bike. I
on
think
your
that's
cycle.
one incredible thing. So Pondicherry was first on my list because near Pondicherry, there's also Mahe, there's Yanam, and there's also Karaikal beaches that are there. And like you said, just getting out of your hotel and just riding your scooter to one of the beaches and seeing the sun rise instead of the sun setting
Yes.
is something that I really liked when I was in Pondicherry. So that was first on my list.
That's great, Neil. And did you realize, as you were saying, something that struck me was that's the best part of India, right? Our beaches are always nearby. something else which is also equally interesting. So you have history, you have culture, and I think to discover culture, Pondicherry is the best place to start, because you also have the Indian culture, but you also have the French town. So you can get the best of both, and this whole amalgamation has created this really unique place where one, yes, if you want, just do nothing, lie on the beach, which is typically what you would do when you go abroad and you go to the beach destinations, right? You just take a beach holiday for 7 days and just do practically nothing and just, lie down on the beach from morning till night. Play, you have some water sports and other things. But the best part with India is, yeah, if you want to change from that scene, half an hour, 1 hour away are amazing temples, amazing monuments, amazing food, amazing things to do. So it's really wonderful being in India and on the beaches. And not far from Pondicherry, Neil, I think, is Mamalapuram or Mahabalipuram. And again, you have the amazing temple out there. The beach is superb. I remember going there really long back, some 25 years, 30 years back, for a friend's wedding. And that was like, yeah, 25 years back for a friend's wedding. And we really enjoyed that trip. And but I've also heard from people who just went there recently. And, with Veenaward, we arranged one of our corporate tours. And they actually, it worked out really well, even for corporates. So that was quite a revelation to me, that even they enjoyed not just the beach, but the temple, a little conference, and all of that. And you mentioned surfing schools. I think Mahabalipuram also has some really good surfing schools. So that whole Pondicherry, Mahabalipuram, Tamil Nadu area is really nice for surfing as well. So yes, I think that's definitely on my list as well.
Another thing about Mamalapuram is that you mentioned that you had gone for a wedding there. So yes, it was back in the day known for wedding as a wedding destination. If you want to have a destination wedding, you can go there, and it still is. But now the town is slowly being taken over by backpackers wanting
Yeah.
to serve during the day and just have a nice chill vibe at night. And it's slowly increasing in that one. The next one on my list is actually if we go north of Chennai, north of
Mhm.
Mamalapuram, and we actually go to Odisha. And in
Ah,
Odisha, there is Chandipur. And
yes.
in Chandipur lies one of the world's most unusual beaches. And you know why it is unusual?
Mhm.
Because the sea just sometimes disappears. And
Mhm.
I read this while I was making the show notes. And
Uh-huh.
one of the things is what does the sea disappearing mean? So at low tide, like which is twice in a day, the sea just recedes, and it recedes so much that you can like it recedes about 5 kilometers into the sea. So you can
Wow.
really explore the seabed at low tide. But you should be careful because the high tide can pick up really fast, and then you may not be able to run back 2 or 3 kilometers if you walked a lot. And one of the best things over here is that you can just chase like red crabs that are there. You can take your phone, click really nice photos of those small or large red
Yeah.
crab.
Mhm.
So that is something that someone should explore. It is about 4.5 hours from Bhubaneswar, which
Mhm.
is a long drive. But it I found it quite unusual because there aren't many beaches where this like at low tide the sea recedes so much back into the ocean. So that was something that was on my list. So that was Odisha.
I think that's a good idea, and you can actually, when you decide to go, look at the tides and look at the time of the tides, and choose to go when the low tide is just coming in, so that you have that walk on the beach that you really want. Walk for miles and miles on the beach. I think that's quite romantic as well. That's really nice. Neil, not Odisha, of course, has always been known for Puri and the famous Jagannath Puri temple as well, the Rath Yatra. So again, it's always been this popular destination. And honestly, we don't really think of it as a beach destination, but it is an amazing beach destination to be there. And along with that, with Odisha, Neil, they also have the turtles. So the turtle seasons, two main places in India, Maharashtra and Odisha. And in Maharashtra, of course, you have Tarkarli, but we'll come to Tarkarli maybe a little later. But these are the two places that you could go to actually see the turtles. And in Odisha, supposedly within India also, is the place where the turtles come in large numbers, en masse. So during March, April, spring season, May, if you go there, you can see hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of turtles. So that's really quite an amazing thing. And not far away, Neil, I think the next one on my list was West Bengal and Diga. Diga is more popular, for people in Kolkata and all of West Bengal to just take a quick break. But again, an amazing place to go on a beach holiday, and also in Odisha and Kolkata, Neil, and more so in Odisha as well. You can actually have a lot of small shacks and restaurants where you can have some nice crabs. You mentioned the crabs, so there are even shacks that sell you a lot of food which is made from the crabs and local dishes that are made with crabs. So yeah, Diga, Chandipur, Puri, these are at least the three places around West Bengal and Odisha that you should definitely
You know,
try. Yeah.
close to Digha, there are two other beaches. There
Mhm.
is one that is called Sankarpur, and the other
Yes.
one is called Mandarmani. Now,
Yeah.
both of them are quite close by, and these are known as the postcard beaches of West Bengal. So they are known for the sunrise again, because sunset is something that the people from the east of India can't see at the beach, but the sunrise is beautiful and the waters are calmer out there. So, like, it is known as the quiet beach. Although these beaches are like around about 3 to 4 hours from Kolkata by car, it is a worthwhile trip for people from Kolkata. So, those three beaches featured on my list, actually.
Yeah,
And
but
you?
I think if we are looking at a different trip when we are going towards the east, because otherwise we tend to pack the holidays with sightseeing and monument. And for, I think, especially with families, Neil, when you're traveling with children, it can get a little tiring to go from one monument to the other. I mean, yes, it is historically important. It is a beautiful structure as well, but they need some space and time to, just enjoy as well. So I think it's a great idea to combine it, probably not just for a beach holiday to go that far from other parts of India, but when you're traveling there, do keep in mind that you can have a great beach holiday as well. That's how I would put it.
Yeah, fair enough. So that was the mainland to the east of India. Should we go more east, go into the islands then?
Yes, Neil, let's go into the islands. And it's amazing, right? We've been speaking of beaches. We have not yet come to the west coast. We are not talking of Goa, and yet there is so much to say.
Exactly. Like,
So
everyone just decides that, oh, chalo, Goa chalte hai. But
uh,
guys, come on. Like, Goa's not the only beach place in India. More than 7,000 kilometers, like Sunila said, of coastline. There's so much to explore and so many virgin beaches that no one has ever heard of. You should be the ones, like everyone listening, exploring the coastline and finding out the best beaches in India. But Sunila, let's start. Let's start with the islands and the Andaman Nicobar Islands.
Neil, we've spoken about the Andaman, I mean, before, and again and again, I think all the islands in Andaman have been, and the beaches in Andaman, the beaches especially have been voted as some of the best beaches, not only in India, the best in India, as of course, but also in the world. And like we mentioned, Andaman is a great place for snorkeling, for seeing the coral life. So scuba diving. So if you want to do like scuba course, then Andaman would be a great, super great place to start with. And you can really, along, if you can have a proper beach holiday for a week and explore a new beach on every single day in Andaman. So Radhanagar Beach, of course, is the most popular one, the most famous one. Voted, I think, in Time Magazine also has voted it as the seventh best beach in the world and in India. And I think a lot of other awards as well. You can never get a wrong or a not nice photo here because all photographs will always be amazing. Like we mentioned with the rupee notes in the episode that we mentioned, again, you have those beaches as well with the lighthouse here. So I think Andaman is just discovery after discovery. And then Neil Island itself has so many other beaches. Elephants Beach, beach number 7. I could just go on and on about the beaches in Andaman.
Neil Island has different beaches. Beach number 7 is actually Radhanagar Beach.
Yeah, yeah,
So at Havelock Island, there are like beach number 1, beach number 2. So
right.
scuba diving, right? Andaman has a lot of scuba diving spots. Beach
Mhm.
number 2 is where you will usually learn, like, when you're doing an open water scuba diving course, you have to do like diving over 3 or 4 days. So the first 2 days they do it in shallow waters, and beach number 2 has really nice reefs. So, like, the tourists or travelers will be at beach number 7, that is Radhanagar,
Radhanagar.
and then
Yeah.
there are many water sport activities. It's calm, it's like white sand, still water. Whereas beach number 2 is where you learn scuba diving, and I did my open water diver's license also over there. But talking about scuba diving sites, Andaman and Nicobar Islands are amongst the best scuba diving sites, not only in India but across the world also. And I remember this one scuba diving site that we went to. This was about 2015 or 2016, where it was a shipwreck. Like, you
Mhm.
sail into the ocean about 2 hours. It is like a Japanese shipwreck that has, like,
Yes.
was sunk in 1966 or something like that. And you might think that it's a small ship, but as you start descending, and being an open water diver, I could only descend up until 18 meters. So
Mhm.
the moment you descend, you see the ship, and how big the ship is, the extent of, like, the ship breaking into two and all of that. It is
Wow.
spooky, it is amazing, everything all together. And we could just, like, dive around, and like just go around the ship, because I didn't have a wreck diving license. You need a separate
Mhm.
license to
Mhm.
go inside a wreck. So that was something that is incredible. So that is Radhanagar. Those are the Andaman Nicobar Islands. And like you said, every day you could spend a year and still
Yeah.
not see all of the beaches in the Andaman Nicobar Islands. And some of the islands are actually government protected, so you can't really go there. And, like, there are some of the tribes that have been not exposed to, like, like other cities, other countries, just human life. So the government protects them. So that is, like, those are the Andaman Nicobar Islands. When you speak of the Andaman Nicobar Islands, often Lakshadweep doesn't get as much importance, but I think it is worth mentioning that, Lakshadweep Islands, which means what 10, like 100,000 islands, but actually there are only 36 islands in the Lakshadweep Islands. But has just incredible scenery, and there are not many commercial flights that go there. So, it is natural, untouched beauty. And, most of the beaches out here are incredible. If you want to have, like, a nice calm holiday with a few water activities and all of that, and, like, just absolute isolation, you should probably be going here. Although it has been in the news, like, uh of late, where,
Yeah.
the government wants to go and, like, develop it and all of that. But if you haven't been to Lakshadweep, like, you should certainly make a trip there, because it is definitely worth visiting.
Definitely. I don't know. I have two thoughts about it, Neil. On the one hand, it would be nice to have our own Maldives right out here in India. On the other hand, you feel let's not even touch nature and leave it untouched for all of us to see. I mean, I think one of the reasons, honestly, that Lakshadweep has remained pristine is that it is not so easy to get there. So, in that sense, with little human interference, and the locals are so sensitive about the ecology and the environment. They really take good care of it. That it's kind of retained that beauty. So yeah, but definitely worth a visit. And I think if we are all mindful when we visit beaches about littering, or even if we see something, just pick up the litter. And it is changing. I mean, right here in Mumbai also, if you see, in fact, a lot of schools had arranged beach cleaning drives and other things. That I think the beaches today, even in a city like Mumbai, are which is so crowded, are much cleaner than what they were a few years back. So I think it's going quite well, and we are learning to take care of our environment and do better and better and better. So from Lakshadweep, Neil, I think next for me on the list was, of course, there's Kerala out there, but I'm going to jump to Karnataka, and we can come back to Kerala later. But Karnataka, why? Because there are so many different kind of beaches here, and if we talk of nature and a natural beauty, then I think Om Beach, which is like two crescent shaped beach in the shape of an Om. Like if you look at it from the have a look at all the aerial views that people have taken, and it really looks as if nature has decided we have to carve Om out here, and that is how the beach looks. So that is quite stunning. You have Gokarna, which is again really popular with the younger generation. And one beach I would like to mention is actually an island just in Udupi, just off the coast, where you need to take a ferry and then go there, which is also known as Coconut Beach, and other, that's St. Mary's Island. And St. Mary's Island is where the lava formations have created this very different looking, it reminded me of Ireland actually, with the Giant's Causeway, and it has these lava rocks as pillars out there, and really beautiful place. So take a ferry from Udupi, go there for the day, spend your time on the beach, and come back. So these are places we don't really think of, but this is something that you can do in Karnataka also.
And many people have been saying that, if you find Goa too commercial, go to Gokarna, because
Yeah.
Gokarna is like a smaller town. It has many secluded beaches around it. And like, there are pilgrims also because it's a holy town.
Mhm.
There are backpackers also. There is like, a mix of everything. And like it is still secluded. So before it gets too commercial, like guys, make your trip to Gokarna because that is spectacular, incredible. I don't know like what else to say about it. But that was Karnataka. So, Sunila, before we come to our state, that is Maharashtra, to end the episode, let's go to Kerala because Kerala is known for its beaches. And I think one of the beaches that comes to my mind, and it's quite famous, not far from Trivandrum, it was like the India's only cliff hotel is out there. Now it's called the Ravis, right?
Yeah.
It used
Right.
to be the Leela. I'm
Leela.
talking about Kovalam Beach.
Mhm.
And Kovalam Beach is something where, there are open restaurants, and you often see in the evenings to see the sunset, there's always a crowd. So I think a good point was to start with Kovalam Beach. What do
Definitely,
you-
Neil.
Yeah,
I
what
mean, Kovalam is really stunning and always popular. And I think it's also again a really great family destination. So you have very nice hotels around there. Like we mentioned, the beaches on the east, they are a little far away. And I think that is the reason that Kerala and Goa have always been popular, because you are not far away from good luxurious accommodation. So if you want to enjoy that, and also for our inbound tourists who come in, or just to really go and stay in a very nice hotel and be able to walk out on the beaches, then I think Kerala really is a great place. And for that, you're right, Kovalam is one of the perfect places to start your or to enjoy the beach holidays.
Another one that is on my list is something called Muzapilangad,
Ha.
right?
Yes,
Muzapilangad. I hope I'm pronouncing it right.
I think so,
This beach is
Muzaffar.
known for what? This beach is known for a beach that you can drive your car on at. Like it's a drive-in beach. And it's like the coastline is so long, it's possible to drive like, about 4 kilometers up and down. And if you go onto Instagram, and if you were to search for this beach, or if you were to search for this place, you will see many reels and posts and videos of people trying to do car stunts, bike stunts on this beach, and just doing some beautiful car like drives on the sand and everything. So it is quite nice. And if you want to get here, I think you have to fly into Kannur, which is also the
Yeah.
place to fly into if you want to go to Wayanad and everything. So you have to fly into Kannur and you have to get to this one. So this was another one. This was another one that was on my list.
I missed it, Neil, because I was in Kannur as well, and I was there for a wedding. So I had all the time in the world, and I could have extended a little bit and gone and seen this beach. So definitely next time when I go to Kannur, I think I'm going to catch it. But even in Kannur, the wedding was so beautiful with the beach setting so close by. We were in this like a heritage property just off the beach, and it was a little humid, I must admit, but it was, with the lights on and the sound of the waves coming. A beach wedding, a destination wedding, is again something that definitely people can think of, because it's really quite stunning, even at day and even at night. So other than just holidays, I think we have a lot of beaches with a lot of beautiful properties, which can serve as an excellent place for destination weddings. So yes.
Yep, definitely. And one final beach in Kerala is Varkala.
Mhm.
Varkala is known for its Ayurveda, it's known for its yoga and all of that. And again, closer to Trivandrum that is there. And, it is a slightly easier, more like, quieter alternative to Kovalam that we mentioned at the start. So that was Kerala for me. Do you have any points to add, or should we move to Maharashtra?
Neil, actually, in Kerala, there are so many places, and it's impossible to cover everything in 20-25 minutes or even 1 hour. So I think we'll leave it at that for Kerala. But before we go to Maharashtra, one place I would like to mention in the south, and we should not forget that for sure, is Kanyakumari and Cape Comorin. The place where, so yes, we are in the west, we are looking at the Arabian Sea, where we are in the east, we are looking at the Bay of Bengal. But in Kanyakumari, you're actually seeing the confluence of the Arabian Sea, Bay of Bengal, and the Indian Ocean. And of course, with the importance, of Swami Vivekananda, Kanyakumari is a great, great, great place. And you can easily combine this with your Kerala holiday as well. So if you want to again go beach after beach, there's Pooar, we mentioned Kolam, Varkala, add to that Kanyakumari, and maybe a few days in the backwaters. And again, you can have even 2 weeks just of beaches out here. So Kanyakumari is something that is always on my list when it comes to coasts or beaches. And that's why I thought I should mention that. And now we can go to Maharashtra. I think that would be a good
Awesome.
day.
So, I mean, Maharashtra has such a long coastline, right? And I think
Mhm.
one beach I'd like to mention as we near the end of the episode is Tarkarli. If you can't go to the Andaman Nicobar Islands, Tarkarli is a good alternative. What do you think?
Yes, Neil, definitely. And I was here. I've been to Tarkarli um, again quite long back. I need to really get back there. But it was so beautiful. We stayed in these little mud houses, and with thatched roofs, and it's really quite quaint. Even now, there are a lot of homestays out there. And Tarkarli also is a great place to do scuba and snorkeling because there is a coral reef. So yes, if you want to do it somewhere closer to home, if you live in Mumbai, if you live in Maharashtra, then Tarkali is the place. In between, there were also some houseboats out there, like the Kerala houseboats, which were kept out there. So that's again something that you can experience here. And it's just a great place. The locals are very friendly. You can have some amazing home cooked food out there. So you don't have to worry about anything. Amazing seafood options also available. Even the vegetarian food is really good there. So Tarkarli is a great, great, great place to go in Maharashtra for sure.
Talking about the food, I think Tarkarli, it's you can go scuba dive. Although I will say that the visibility that you get in the
Yes.
Andaman you don't get in
Yeah.
Tarkarli, but
Yeah.
it's a good place to just go and get a
Mhm.
get a thing where oh, do I like scuba diving? Because going underwater, breathing through um, the oxygen pump that is there, having all of that harness can be great for some people just don't love it. So it's a good thing to get introduced to scuba diving, and the food is incredible. So, Sunila, we've discussed the East, the West, the Andaman Nicobar Islands, Lakshadweep. Any closing points?
So the only thing, like I said, I hadn't mentioned was the turtles in Maharashtra, and you can see them at Velas. And this is close to Harihareshwar in Ratnagiri. Right now, of course, all of Ratnagiri is reeling in water. We hope they recover really soon, and they are able to come back to their life, and we can go back and enjoy the beaches and the other fun parts in Ratnagiri as well. So this takes place. The Turtle Festival, of course, this year was cancelled, but hopefully next year the turtles will be able to come back to their home too. Typically held from March until April, May. That is when you can really go and see the turtles nest out there, and it's quite a beautiful sight. So it reminds us that oceans are for everybody, they're not just ours, and you can have a fantastic holiday in Maharashtra as well. So all of Ratnagiri also has quite a lot of other beaches. So the coastline in Maharashtra is also very big. We cannot mention everything here. Maybe we do a separate episode just for the beaches in Maharashtra one day. But until then, I think go out there, enjoy your beaches. Once the monsoon's over, it'll be an amazing time to go there. And yeah, you have a lot of choices out there now. So pick your choice and get going.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Sunila. Guys, those were the beaches of Maharashtra. Thank you for listening in. If you're watching this on YouTube, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and we will keep posting more and more new content, great content, and content where we talk about the beaches, we don't talk about Goa because everyone talks about Goa. We want to talk about new things. So keep writing to us, keep sending in the feedback, and we will keep taking newer and newer on-demand episodes as we have done this week. Thank you. Take care of yourself. And it was lovely doing another episode of Travel, Explore, Celebrate Life. Ciao, everyone. Goodbye. Have a great
Bye.
one.